Welcome to Dan's On Site with Dan Dutton and Dan Goley, a podcast and YouTube show dedicated to all things real estate, delivering market information, interviews from all perspectives, and tips for everyone involved in or interested in real estate. We'd love to hear from you. dans@dansonsite.com. Hey, welcome to Dan's On Site. I'm Dan Dutton, joined by Dan Goley. We're going to jump right into the interview today, a little different than we've done in the past. I think last week I called this guy the man, the myth, the legend. So today we're joined by Tim Rexius. Tim, thank you very much for coming out today and sitting down with us yahoos.
Yeah, my pleasure. Actually, it's like sort of thing. It was my fourth podcast this week, so I'm kind of digging the whole podcast thing. It's kind of, my wife says I don't have a problem talking, so this is just fun for me.
Well, it was one of the criteria we used in selection. Make it a little bit easier for us.
Hey,
as well.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So just before we get into the questions, what tell us everything. I'm gonna forget something if I try to go through everything you're involved in now.
All right.
So tell us everything you're involved in now.
We started Rexius Nutrition retail nutrition stores. First one 10 years ago. You leased me my first spot.
We're gonna get into
So
we're gonna get into that a little later on.
That's gonna be fun. So then we started franchising back in 2013, and now we have 7 corporate locations and 16 franchise locations across 8 states. Then 3 years ago, decided to start Iron Heaven Gyms here in Omaha. Started our first, just a warehouse gym, which turned into a second warehouse gym, which turned into tripling the size of the first gym, which begs the question, I'm going to buy land to build our own gym. You're welcome. We're working on that right now. And then we expanded warehouse operations and started Vital Health International, OPP Protein Popcorn. We're a wholesale distribution. Have our own line of supplements, vitamins, herbs, healthy protein popcorn.
Actually, that popcorn is
crack cocaine.
It really is.
I feel like the healthy drug dealer. It's kind of fantastic. All my neighbors come to my house just for the popcorn, but it was a little passion of my wife and I is to develop a healthy popcorn we could give our kids that actually had good quality protein that wasn't chock full of preservatives or high fructose corn syrup, and it turned out there's no fat. It's isolated proteins. There's no added high fructose corn syrup.
How did you get into popcorn? I mean, usually you go into fitness and supplements and everything else.
No,
maybe a candy bar.
Here's what you find out. So people who are into fitness and healthy nutrition appreciate a cheat meal way more than the average person because we dream about it for 14 straight days. So we plan that out. We know where we're going to go on Saturday, what time that's going to happen, what I'm going to waste my calories on, and so you become a connoisseur of shitty food because you only get to have it once every 2 weeks. And popcorn was the thing, and there were some brands out there that there's all these protein snacks on the market that they say they're protein snacks. They don't say healthy snacks. And so the thing is, you give them your kids, start looking at the macros in the back, you're like, oh my God. The only difference between this and a regular cookie is the protein. Yeah. That's it. So you're really not giving your kids anything. All people are like, well, I'm eating protein cookies all the time, but I gained 20 pounds. I'm like, all you did was add an extra 300 calories. You didn't actually, so that was the whole purpose behind that. And then, we just keep adding more and more. I mean, I promised my wife no new companies till like another 2 years. We'll just keep expanding what we got because I don't do anything else. We have 6 kids, so it keeps us extremely busy as it is. And, with the other companies, and we're looking at opening a couple more stores and obviously expanding the gyms, and it's been good. So
as Dan fools around with our logo,
yeah,
good work, buddy.
Yeah, went away.
So that's awesome. That's it's interesting. You're so right about I'm not the ideal fitness person here, but it's real curious. I guess I think about where I'm going to eat shitty like this afternoon. Maybe that's the difference.
I plan mine.
Well, I don't plan that part. I look back and be like, why did I eat that?
Well, I think part of my job, I have to look like I actually use the shit we sell and use the gyms. And my business partners on both companies are significantly genetically blessed. I'm not. So I have to work a lot harder to get to that bodybuilding stage and have that kind of fun with it. My wife is significantly better looking than me. That's a problem. So, and I have a lot more gray hair than she does, so everything she's my daughter, and then they find out that we're married. It's just all those things for me, so I have to work pretty hard, and I can't cheat. I'm just naturally a big guy, so for me, when we came to a cheat day, it's legendary. The thing is, I eat enough crappy food that day that I don't want it for 2 weeks, but then I start thinking about it, and then, my kid, you have 6 kids walking around eating stuff that you want, and I have the willpower of a 6-year-old, so I gotta really plan my stuff out. But
Can I just say for a second, like, that's the hardest thing in my house.
Yeah.
Like, I got 3 little kids that eat whatever they want, whenever they want.
I eat vicariously through them, which is horrible. I let them eat all. Like that's the problem. That's why we want healthy snacks. Because what happened is I wanted donuts. I couldn't have them. Like, you guys want donuts? Yeah, but so I go buy it for them, right? Just smell
You don't get one.
No, I just smell
for
it.
the
All of a
road
sudden,
or
I'm smelling it.
anything,
I'm like a drug addict. I'm like, oh, that smells so good. And all of a sudden they're unhealthy. So I'm like, there's got to be a better mix of in between the two to get a healthy snack that actually tastes fantastic, that you wouldn't know it's healthy unless you read the label. That was the goal. And it turned into this monstrosity. And now we went international, so we're in Australia now. It's on Amazon. We're getting into wholesale distribution with some grocery store chains, and it, obviously COVID's affected that. Obviously, everything kind of held off new items, but we're expecting by 2021 to be, I want to be across the entire United States. So,
Well, congratulations.
Thank
That's huge. So you went from Rexius Nutrition stores, the first one. How many Rexius Nutrition stores do we have now?
I would say 23. So between franchises and corporate locations, yeah. So.
And then we have the 2 Iron Heaven gyms.
Yep.
We have the full line of everything. And I guess there's a lot of synergy there that goes between all the businesses.
They're all related to each other. We're all in the same field. I mean, granted, they're different kinds of businesses, but they're in the same field that I'm comfortable with, that I have a passion for, which I think makes a huge difference. You know, I wasn't getting into something just for purely financial reasons. Now I'm not obviously easy. I want money too. You know, well, I mean, I'm not gonna bullshit and tell you like I don't. Of course I do. But they're in the same industry, but they're different kinds of businesses. You got your retail, which is obviously an ever-changing landscape in the especially the last 10 years. I mean, my God, last 5. Whole new ballgame from where it was, like say 2015 to right now, especially 2010. But then again, the gym business was a membership business. So it's a different kind of revenue stream. It's a whole different animal than wholesale, which I thought I understood, found out I don't. Over the last year and a half with OPP Popcorn, that's a whole different ballgame. And so the thing is, they're all in the same field, but they're all definitely different business models. They have a certain overlap, and I can use my popularity from one to boost the other, which is awesome. I can use the same customer base-ish to allow me to, capitalize on my already existing business acumen, but at the same point, it's just a different field, which at the same point is nice. So when retail drops because of, say, COVID, people were still so happy to have a membership at a gym to go to when a lot of them were closed down that we actually went up. And so,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we were the only one open. We passed all the health screens. We kept the rules. We're small enough that I didn't have to worry about certain things. We're 24-hour access. And we had so many doctors and nurses and police officers that wanted to work out that they actually kept an eye on it for me. All of a sudden, we had a 200-person waiting list to get into the gym.
Okay.
Really?
So we just
I didn't know
saw
that. Yeah.
24 Hour Fitness just filed
Bankruptcy.
bankruptcy. I think every gym struggled significantly with how to operate. What have you guys specifically done with the gyms to be able to continue to operate?
Honestly, it was my background before I got into Rexius Nutrition. My background was in actually working with the FDA and EPA on disinfectants and fire outbreaks, and that's my background is biomechanical engineering. So I was able. The good thing for me is my cousin's the CEO of a chemical company, and they make the highest grade disinfectants on the planet. Which was, I was like, hey, cousin, I need a family favor.
I know you can't find it.
And the thing is, we went to an extreme. We actually spent money instead of we dialed back obviously staffing and stuff just so we could keep our regulations in check. But instead of keeping that money as a precaution, we spent it. So what we did was we spent literally 4 times as much money on the cleaning and the upkeep. So we were paying people just to go in and clean, and a cleaning service come in. And even though you don't need to disinfect more than once, technically every 48 hours, because the thing has a 48-hour residual, we were doing it 4 times a day, so everyone saw us doing it. I literally wasted $2,000 a month in cleaning chemicals. It was 1,000% unnecessary, just for the mental transparency with our
the comfort of the people.
Just they could see us doing it.
Yeah.
Perception is your reality. And two, that we were just 100% honestly, with every single one of them. And I think there's a little bit to be said that, with owner-operators, we knew a lot of the members, and then there was a lot of referrals. They were clean. We were just 100% honest. Like, hey, you got a distance. Here's the maximum occupancy. Here's the rules. We're 24-hour access because we're small enough. Our insurance isn't as high as like a major company where they need to have employees around them. We've spent more money, get more security cameras. They're 24-hour live feeds, so people feel safer. I think I have more cameras in a 6,000 square foot gym than most 20,000 square foot gyms, just so everybody knows every inch of that building's covered. All the little things, I think. And we were just honest. We were live Facebook videos and Instagram videos telling like, here's what we're doing. Here's the rule. If you don't want to come to the gym, that's cool. We'll freeze your membership. We don't have contracts. We weren't charging stupid fees. And that was the other thing. So the few other gyms that were open charged their 1-year contracts. It's a $300 termination fee. They raised their prices. We didn't raise a single price. We don't have any contracts. It is month to month. And so there's a waiting list, and people love that. The fact that we're like, if you don't want to be here after COVID's open, your regular gym, you don't have to. We appreciate the opportunity to earn your business, just a very, small business mentality. And all of a sudden, everybody else is losing members. We have a waiting list.
So tell us where the 2 gym locations are.
We're 120th and Maple in the Stonegate Plaza behind the DC Center in Omaha. So it's right behind Mulhall's, and everybody knows Omaha. It's right in the corner around there. We're back in the Stonegate Plaza. That one's about 12,000 square feet now. We keep expanding that beast. And
it's a good area for that.
It is. That one's
really, it is.
That one's 132nd Chandler Road, about 2 blocks south of Harrison, on 132nd Street. That one is. We want to buy the land next to it. We got to build our own building. We literally gained so many members at this point that we need our own showers. We need our own room. Dan remembers this when we negotiated this lease, and all of a sudden showers cost $60,000. I'm like, yeah, I ain't got it. So
maybe not showers today.
Showers next year.
Yeah.
That's future Tim's problem.
Yeah.
And we're at that point now where we're literally the extra money now that things are back up to 50% occupancy and 75% here relatively shortly. Any extra money we've made, we literally, Nick and my wife and I decided we're going to dump all into the business, every last penny. We didn't save any of it. So we're obviously smart financially with everything. We're well caught up, and our bankers worked really well with us just in case. We did our due diligence, but we actually went and spent. We bought more cardio. We bought more weight equipment. I think there were 5 road trips between Dubuque and Topeka buying new equipment. So all of our new members not only saw that we kept everything clean, we actually improved the gym where everyone else was trying to stave off as much money as possible. We're like, we're going to improve. I don't really have the whole, how do I say this? Like, I'm always an improvement guy. You're either growing or shrinking. I don't do complacency. So we're going to improve the facilities, which impress the new members so much. They're staying, and the existing members were like, hell yeah, we got new stuff. So we doubled down on the business model. We knew what we believed in. And 2, my partners and I and my wife, we don't take any money from the business as owners. That was our deal for the first 5 years, for our first lease, that we wouldn't take one single dime of profit from the business. We put it all back in the business, and that stayed true even through this. So that allows us to operate on a leaner budget compared to your 24-hour fitnesses, which, I mean, honestly, prior to COVID, they were already in deep doo-doo anyways. They've been circling the drain for a long time.
They've been already downsizing
massively, and they had LA Fitness had some similar issues. Gold's Gym also filed bankruptcy. They closed, I don't know, 30.
COVID kind of accelerated all those people that were teetering.
It illuminated the issues some of these larger corporations were having
in every industry.
And people ask us like, hey, you should open one in Sioux City, you should open in Des Moines. I'm like, you open one. Because the owner-operators, we found with Rexius, the owner-operators, the real people who are there every day, they are the ones that make the difference.
So speaking of Rexius, I want to hit on Rexius because that's where it all started.
Yeah. And
you said it right there. That is one of the key fundamental things you found is you're known in Omaha. You have that following in Omaha. It's easy for you to get out to the gyms. I remember when I met you. I think it's fair to say maybe a little on the chubby side.
Yeah, I was hefty.
And then,
jeez.
By the way, my mom says this comes from the chubby guys.
2 of us taking on you.
This comes from the chubby guys. No, but I remember.
You're calling me chubby now?
Calling everybody chubby.
As my mom said, I was husky. I was a big kid.
But the thing I remember was that we did that deal.
Yeah.
I came back in, I don't know, a year later or something, see what was going on. And all of a sudden you've blown up, but like blown up in a good way. And it was like mouth on the floor. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And you told me like, no, I go, how do you think I promote this business? I go to 6 different gyms, 6 days a week.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trained probably 14 times a week, 2 different gyms a day, every day for a year. And I'm like, shit, I was 29, turning 30. I was 30 years old, and I was in the best shape. I just straight up. That's why I didn't have any money for radio, for TV at the time. And I was like, well, I can go shake hands. And hey, I think that's more impressive than me trying to convince somebody over a radio ad to maybe try. If I meet you in person, I'm real hard to say no to. Look at my wife. way out of my coverage. I can convince people to think I'm a safe bet, and so that's all we did. And as we grew, people can follow the movement, they follow the name, the podcasting, all of that helps. And at the end of the day, it's the guy behind the counter and I think that's kind of transition that we've made over the last years. I've seen the bigger corporations, one bad manager, one sit, like an owner operator is going to care a lot more than a manager's ever going.
Yeah.
And that was this year we sold the second location we ever opened, Norfolk, Nebraska, May of 2011. I sold that location in December to my manager who's been there for 4 years. And he's from Norfolk and we knew him and I loved it, but in my hometown, I got there once a year. And he's there. It was doing well, but here's a guy, like if he leaves me, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Because they got to start all over again. And then one bad manager, and I mean, boys, you know how that is. One bad person, bad rep.
It's over.
I remember a long time ago, I was touring with a retailer. We're out looking around, and we're looking at sites, and he goes, the funny thing is, as real estate guys, we don't want to believe it's all about the real estate, right? The real estate is whether you get success or not to get success. He goes, I learned a long time ago that a manager can take a C location and make it an A location.
Absolutely.
And a C manager can take an A location and make it a C location.
Absolutely. 100%.
And I think that's what you've learned with franchisees. Like, you can't go be in, Des Moines or, the Metro there every day. Like, you sell off. And then I think the other interesting thing that maybe has separated you from other concepts, especially in your industry, is the willingness or almost maybe the desire to sell off single location franchises, as opposed to say, no, you got to sign up for the whole market.
4 or 5, you got to do this in so many years. And we saw that happen with my competitors. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall back in 2010, even when there's, the internet boom was still happening at the time. And you had the big giants in my industry, GNC and Complete Nutrition, which is based here, and all companies that don't hardly exist. GNC's goes 1,200 units in 24 months. And looks like they're not going to make they weren't going to make their second quarter obligations back in quarter 4 of 2019 before COVID happened. And it's because the simple fact is that it's too much. It's the money that's involved with retail landscape on competing against the internet. Like you can't handle all those and have managers and the staffing issues, all the costs that have accumulated over the last 10 years, the increased cost of staffing and insurance and all those things, and still have a low price to compete against the internet. It has to give someplace.
Are you like more on the retailers where, it's more regionalized? Some region may use this different kind of product more than the other. I mean, does it all take you a while to flow around?
It does. We'll have different products in Colorado that sell different than Texas, that sell different than Mankato, Minnesota. It's a whole different ball game. And like, they're different type of people. Like I love Mankato. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't like snow. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole different kind of mentality versus my Texas people are like, oh my God,
they don't like snow either.
It gets below 40, right? It's negative 40 here, and I think that's the case. And it's like Norfolk where we sold that, and it's funny because now people knew that he owned it, and he was there anyways, but he owned it, and I made a big deal of it. Like, you own this, it's your family, you got 3 kids, the whole works. And so by February, he broke the all-time store record, even for my business partner and I ran that store. In February, the shortest month of the year, right before all the COVID stuff happened, he broke the all-time record, not by a little bit either, by 20% to show you that an owner-operator there that has the community and are entrenched in there can outperform. And I also know personally from running multiple locations, what a colossal pain in the ass that can be.
Right.
When managers and 3 of them call in sick the same day, what do you do? And that's where I'm like, okay, less profit now for me is like, as far as that, okay, I'm going to make all that money, that community can generate a store that's going to be $1 million, and you get all green in the eyes, and I do, I'm like, but I know that 30 years down the road of a very successful franchisee who's very happy paying a very low honest royalty rate is going to produce me a significantly more amount of income. And plus I'd seen how much these larger franchise models that were selling 4 or 5 unit totals were getting sued when it didn't work.
Right.
Happened with other companies here in Omaha, between Complete Nutritions and the GNCs and all those. And it's all public knowledge. It's not like it's private, but you can see, I think GNC franchisees have sued corporate about 250 times and won 250 times. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that because I don't want to pay legal fees.
Right.
Dan knows this when I have to go through leases with my lawyers. I'm like, I can do this part myself. I don't want to pay him 2 hours for that. And it was just, it's more or less looking the 30-year term more than just the 5-year. I think that's where I put it.
So So one thing we talk about a lot in our business, especially because we do real estate and brick and mortar retail has gotten, it gets such a bad rap nationally, an unfair rap. And truthfully, we don't think it's the story that the media tells is just not true. Yeah. And so you compete, you work with the internet, you compete against the internet every single day. What have you done specifically?
My business model is my web, which we do decently well, especially now we've done really well on. But when I design the site and my social media, it is to reaffirm the retail location. And at the end of the day, we all know this. If you get phenomenal customer service from somebody inside of a store, a great handshake, a friendship's developed, camaraderie, they know your kids, they know what you guys do. That loyalty can never be earned online. I don't care what customer service rep you have on Amazon that can instantly, or what bot you have, they're not going to share their experiences. You're not going to have that camaraderie, that relationships, and relationships are what make business work. That's what creates loyalty. And I don't look at all the things happening with internet boom as a negative, but media portrays it that way. They portray it, retail's dead. No, it's the great reckoning is what it was. Because of the convenience of voice-activated purchasing and fingerprint identification, ask me my daughter. I have 3 daughters, boys. They paid for one of Jeff Bezos' houses already, and so. But for me, what it was is it cleared all. I call the fake people out, the fake entrepreneurs out of the way, who weren't actually ever doing any work. They were just there for money and
sitting on their couch in pajamas, pumping stuff on Amazon, calling it a business.
Yeah, and that's just it. And so all of a sudden, what you're left with in retail are the ones who are going to stay. Yeah, I just resigned my lease for the 3rd time at 120th Center. I'm the only one's ever been there that long. And I'm like, hey, you want to stay? I go, are you kidding me? I'm never leaving this place.
Yeah, I saw Best Buy's up. I mean, a lot of retailers are coming
JCPenney, and that's these huge monstrosities. But I'm thinking the owner-operator retail businesses, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, like I feel stronger now than I ever have.
I think I like to say the internet has it's brought in creativity. Creativity was always there. It's now made creativity a requirement of operating in that field. Yeah. If you're not creative in how you run your business, we were talking before we started, your social media following on Instagram and Facebook, and you started a podcast, all these things you do that just reinforces all of the things you do, and even going back to the gyms, reinforce the Rexius stores, and Rexius stores reinforce the gyms, and the supplements, now you sell the supplements that you can say, I'm assuming I have my faith in, I built these supplements, all that stuff. That's real creativity that we could go back. I mean, JCPenney lost their creativity 100 years ago? I'm not sure.
But JCPenney used to be the 4.5-inch catalog that they sent out to everybody, which I always tell everybody, that was like the early Amazon.
I remember.
You know what I mean?
And that was it. The grandma put the big catalog down. When
you just sit there for a whole day.
Kid, that's what you did. And the thing is, too, it's not just me that I do this, but I make my staff do it. I make my franchisees do it. I teach them how to do it. I'm like, listen, like your social media standing wherever is your lifeblood. That's what I do with my podcast is business advice. Like, don't do these things on social media. Don't do this on social media. I know you want everyone to hear your opinion on who they should vote for. Yeah. You just cut your business in half, so keep that shit to yourself. And I literally just being smart. Like, it's, I'm trying to be, and positive, 1,000% positivity. And I just told them, I'm like, you need to have a little, like, be real though. Be you. Be you. Don't be fake. Because there's enough 19-year-old kids doing that with 25 filters on Instagram, and people appreciate they appreciate the realness that we've got. And my wife and I, and like people see me on a reality show with 6 kids and all these businesses, but people like buy into it. It just is what it is. I'm not gonna rock a suit unless I am absolutely forced to for a wedding or a funeral. So I'm here on t-shirts and just doing my thing wearing flip flops. And I think people can connect to that reality. And I told every one of my managers at every single one of my stores, every one of my part-time staff, at every single location, and across every state, is required to post on their Instagram story minimally every time they work. If they don't, that's a 3-strike rule. You're out. It's not optional. I had a girl like in Carnival. She said, "I don't really know if I want to put this on my Insta. It doesn't meet my aesthetic." I'm like, I don't know what that means, but if you don't do it, you can't work.
Well, Tim doesn't know. We actually have to take him around the office later to introduce him to all the people who work here that want to become affiliates. Ambassadors for you.
Mm-hmm. I have so I started an ambassador group, and that was the thing. Was like, hey, these people want a discount. They have a great social media following. let's make a deal. And it's no different than a trade for services you do with your local plumber. That, hey, I'll fix your toilet for a bottle of vitamins I don't want to buy. Sweet. Hey, I love that. You know, so we do that. So like, hey, I've got 4,000 followers on Instagram and I train at this gym over 144th. I'm like, sweet, I don't have a lot of customers from that gym. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 20% off and a free t-shirt. As long as you post up, you go buy your stuff here. Be real, no bullshit. Don't. I always tell them, I'm not gonna tell you what to post. You do what you want. Keep it authentic, and they do. And all of a sudden, I've got 400 ambassadors across 8 states.
Well, there's 2 in this office. Literally, when they found out you were coming in, they're like, "Tell Tim we're an ambassador." Sweet. I'm not kidding you. And I was like, "What?"
And that's just it. And all of a sudden, I've got TV anchors and whatnot becoming in, just because they're cool and then of course my staff, like, they don't watch the news. They're 19, and they're like, "Who's this?" Go, she's the anchor. Whatever. And they're like, what's that? I go, okay, God, whatever. And the thing is, I also understand that I'm trying to hit a different demographic. I'm going to hit the 40 plus with parents and grandkids because that's my demographic, and my staff, they're going to hit the 20-year-old because that's who they hang out with. That's cool. Each one has their own niche, and that allows me to, kind of hit like you're just old people stuff. Like, old people have discretionary income. Right. So I'm chasing youth right now.
That's where the word ambassador came from.
And it's been fun. I will say this, in the retail, like you were saying, an A-class manager compared to a C-class location, I do notice that on the gyms, it is a different ballgame, though. That has been different, challenging. It legitimizes the gym business if I'm on a main road.
Yeah, so we can talk about that, where on the gyms, we specifically were going for a warehouse feel, an off the beaten path maybe feel.
Originally, yes, because I'm like, I want this. I thought, in my mind, there was enough dedicated people who got really sick of the poppy gyms. They were just going to flock. We're going to have like 300 members. We're good. Just have a
sign up committee, hope a few show.
And then 95% of people said they'd sign up didn't sign up. I'm like, oh shit. So I was like, okay, because it comes down to a matter of convenience with gyms. Yeah. I mean, it really does. In a retail store, I could be a destination location because you're only purchasing once a month. Mm-hmm. But a gym you're using every day. And so I was wrong, honestly. Like, the warehouse feel is what I wanted. There just weren't a lot of warehouses on West Maple. And Dan goes, well, hey, if you don't like this one, you're kind of shit out of luck because this is the only one on West Maple. And it was at the time. It was. And I'm like, okay, we'll try it. It worked out. It kind of killed 2 birds with one stone. They needed a warehouse for Rexius, a little gym. And then the gym grew. And then we got the opportunity to look at the one over on 132nd Chandler that my neighbor owned, Pelster. And he's the great guy, though. I see him all the time. But it's on the main drag. There's an apartment across the street. You can see it from the interstate. I'm like, whoa. People can actually see it. I don't have to give them 16 directions on how to get there. Yeah. And we had more members at that gym in 90 days than I did the other one in a year and a half.
Well, you're also, that one on 132nd Chandler is in a gym desert.
It is. There's nothing else around there. Mm-hmm. So it was good as far as the demographic, geographic combination. It was pretty fantastic, honestly, because there's nothing else there. And everybody's like, there's such a huge population density.
There's a shockingly number of rooftops over by there.
There is, and I always said, like, if the Stonegate one wasn't behind the DC Center and hidden, if it was up where the old 24-hour Fitness North Park that looks like a demilitarized zone now, I'd have 1,000 more members today right now. Yeah. Well, just because people drive by and see it. And I couldn't tell you, like, I've had people in my own plaza at Stonegate. So what do you guys think? It's like a gym. It says an Iron Heaven gym on it. No, nail salon. That's something with the gym business that as I'm helping other people start their own gyms and ask me, what do you think? I go, honestly, if you can be on Street View, it's going to be worth the extra money. After watching that Chandler, I mean, you're always looking to see what your competition. And Omaha, for a long time, has been overpopulated with a lot of gyms, but to get the kind of feel we're going for, the size we're going for, and then the traffic patterns is what I always watch. Like, where are people living? Where do they have to drive by to work? Yeah. And that's where we found that it does make a difference, and it really does. I mean, granted, the North Park building's way out of the price range, but it's a dream.
It keeps coming down. It
has to. Because the only thing in there is squirrels. And the ceiling's caved in for crying out loud. But then we're looking at the land over by Chandler because I need showers, I need more space. A lot of lunchtime workout people that need to be able to, and I just don't have them. There's no space left, and I'm at max capacity, and that's a good problem. Right. So and then all of a sudden Nick's like, "What do you know about buying land?" I go, "That's the question for the dance." I do not know anything. I'm smart enough at this point in business to know if I don't know shit, I don't pretend to. I'm like, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I'm 1% of the way, and I don't know anything.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's where talking to you guys, what you do is so valuable because it's so out of my realm. I know nothing. I looked at it, I go, hey, it's on LoopNet. As far as I got. So
I like the price.
Yeah, I get the emails from Tim. It's like 4 different links to LoopNet. And it's like, yeah,
I can't sleep at night. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, where can I buy something stupid? And Dan, here's a list. So yeah.
So Tim, I think that's a great lead-in. We do what we call a story of the week every week, and the story of the week is basically just some story from our background, the experience that we had. So the first week I talked about a failure, a big a development I had in Lincoln that didn't take off. Last week, Dan talked about a real successful project we did here in Omaha not that long ago. But I thought since we have you here today, I thought that first location we did together, your first location for Rexius, that's really a great story.
One that I had met one of the owners of the property at a graduation party, and he was drinking and I was drinking. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get my first spot. I don't have a lot of money. I have some financial. He goes, and he didn't like the realtor that I was dealing with. He goes, oh no, you talked to my guy Dan on Monday. So I messaged him on Monday. Hey, remember me? Oh, I did say that. Yeah, you did. So I meet Dan outside the store, and he's sitting outside. He goes, hey, listen, the people in there do not know they're getting fired tomorrow, so you can't say anything. He's closing it tomorrow. And it was a Verizon store at the time. Yeah. And so we walk in, oh, hey, we're the property. We're just checking for fire hazards or something. And
Insurance usually.
Insurance or something. Yeah. So we walk in the back and you could do this over here. I'm like, hey, can we keep the big shelf unit? Because I don't have any money to buy another one. He said, yeah, we'll make that happen. Okay, cool. And then it was a little pain to get done. My investors were helping me get the lease, and then they don't want to sign liability. And he asked me, can you sign liability? I go, I can, but I don't own anything. I don't think it's going to do any good. And we get into it, and it was rough. It was raw. It was just all white walls, white slat wall.
It looked like a Verizon store.
It did, with the red wall in the back, and then the carpet had been there for 3 tenants, I think, previously. I'm like, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. I don't have any money to pay for anything. And I bought my gondolas off of a closed Walgreens in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, and painting them in the store with metal paint I got at Home Depot on off. It was rough, it was, and the store's only 14 and a quarter foot wide.
Yeah, it's real narrow.
So it's the smallest sign I have of any store in the entire chain. It's only not quite 2 foot tall by 8.5 foot wide. It's all the lease would allow me. There's a tree out front that blocks the sign from the road during the spring and summer.
Well, the owner loves trees more than life itself.
You couldn't see this thing. So my first year got spent. All right, if you're looking at Taco Bell, turn around. Yeah, that's me. And that was my whole first year. So I got logos all over my car just to try to be like a humongous billboard. And to this date, that is still our number one grossing location. It's done over $1 million a year, 3 different times in the last 10 years. And it's on the most number of sales per day. It's almost become a institution in this town. It's like the spot. You still can't see it. That tree is still there. I really wish that tree wasn't there. You still can't
anybody going in now that center's driving right by.
Right by. It's on a curve, so it's kind of fast, and that's the thing.
There's a speed bump out there.
At this point in time, my business partner goes, "We ever want to move it?" I go, "I will be dead before that store does not exist, or the building's going to get blown up. That's it. Because I'm never leaving." Even in the back, I have an extra 1,000 square feet I don't even use anymore. I'm like, nah, we're staying there.
That was the warehouse originally.
That was the warehouse, and we outgrew that beast real quick. We cut in double doors, removed walls, and that store, people came, like part-time staff, they vie to get to who gets to work there because it's so busy. But I'm like, you have to work for me for minimally of 3 or 4 months before you even get a part-time shift in that store. Because it is that busy. So you have to be able to know your shit, think on your feet, because you're dealing with 6 or 7 people at a time quite often, which is awesome. When you go to one of my new stores, and if you get one person every 3 hours, you're like, shit, I saw something. Like, all right. Where it's like you work that store, just don't plan on going to the bathroom for 4 hours, because you're not going to have the chance, which is so cool. Compared to when I first started, Dan would come to see me. How's it going? I playing online poker today, and I lost. But it's been fun on that site that, it was at one point it was a Verizon didn't make it, a UPS store didn't make it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just keep re-signing the lease. You want to re-sign? I go, I'm going to say yes anyways. Yeah, well, it's
But I think back to that, and I think you were working on another location. Mm-hmm. You were deeply into it. They were maybe not responding to you the way that you would hope that somebody, a broker, would respond to you?
Well, you talk to me like a human being. And
Yeah.
I find this in a lot of fields with legal and CPAs and realtors, and it's universal. I had this discussion yesterday on another podcast with people who do websites and then a person who does financial planning. As people get so in their field and they start to use their abbreviations and they really try to tout their intelligence. And in a lot of ways, people got to be careful we do that with, because that can be considered talking down to them. Or all of a sudden, like, people don't get uncomfortable when they feel like they're out of their realm. Right. And you want that. And you were just like, hey, I go, and you see something blah, blah, blah in the LOI. I go, I don't know what the hell that means. It means letter of intent. And I'll try to use abbreviations or whatever. Well, thank you, appreciate it. You were easy to talk to. I mean, that was the thing. I felt comfortable. And then I'm a very loyal person. So, like, after that, I'm like, you're my guy. Whether you want to be my guy, you're my guy. And I think it was because of the customer service aspect. You were like, hey, you were cool explaining things and dealing with things and being like, okay, well, this, and looking over things for me, looking out for my interests, which is really what the relationship is.
So I think we've done, I estimated like 25 deals, renewals, new leases, the gyms, everything. We've done like 25 now.
Yeah.
So it's really been, hopefully it's been a good relationship for you. It's been an awesome relationship for me. It's been fun. We went down, we've been, every once in a while we look all over the United States for a site here or there.
We've done some work that didn't pan out. We're doing with West Palm Beach, Florida, and then finding out everybody in Florida owns the buildings and they're rich. They don't care if they rent on them. We've had some, there's been some troubling deals. A lot of times it's not you or me, it's a franchisee and it's out of both hands. And so that's the aggravating, but it's part of the process. For me to get the kind of owner that I want that can be like the Fremont guys, or they're going to be there for 30 years. It's challenging. It can be. But yeah, we've done, and that was like Nick yesterday goes, this land deal, this one's XYZ. I go, that's a Dan question. It was like 6 responses. I go, still a Dan question, bro. I'm driving. That's a Dan question.
So I love Nick. Nick's built like, Hercules.
He looks like somebody who should own a gym. Not like me.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But when I met him, when he first started working for you, he wasn't nearly that big. But you also put him in charge of real estate, kind of, sort of. And he got so pissed when we were working on that first deal.
Oh, yeah.
And you just looked at him like, I don't tell you, this is how deals work.
I had to sit back, and he was getting this. It was his, when he first got it, he was buying into the business, the gym with me, and it was awesome. I love turning my great employees into our business owners so they can never leave me. It's in my master plan. So my regional manager at the center store owns part of VHi with me too. I just kind of stick my little paw like, you can't ever leave me now. Part owners. And Nick was just so mad. And I finally sat back, and he was getting so pissed, and and I'm laughing. Because I've done this with you 20 times at that point, and I go, let me explain something to you. The guy that owns this property, he's probably worth $50 million. He's like, yeah, he doesn't give a shit about you, dude. He doesn't care, and if he doesn't have you on the schedule till next Thursday, he might turn it to Friday just to prove a point.
Right.
So we kind of go, be patient, sit back, and that's all.
Power of no.
You're not going to force it into fruition. It's not going to happen.
It's a lot of hurry up and wait. Unfortunately,
it's just part of it. We have to get to them right away when they want to wait till next Thursday. Because you just sit back. I go, trust me, I'm an impatient person. If I can sit back and chill, Dan trained the hell out of me. Sit back and chill.
So, Tim, we can obviously sit here and do this all day. I think you and I have probably sat here and done this all day before.
Please. Yes.
But anyway, before we wrap this up, tell people all the places they can find you.
If you go to timrexius.com, TIMREXIUS.com, it'll have links to my YouTube channels, the Now or Never podcast, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Timothy D. Rexius on Instagram, Timothy D. Rexius on Facebook. Don't make fun of me. Yes, I ran out of friends on Facebook, so I had to make a business page too. Everybody else makes fun of me for that. RexiusNutrition.com, all the stores. IronHeadOmaha.com for Ironhead gyms. VHiFit.com for the OPP popcorn. And honestly, you just type in Rexius, there's not that many of us, which is awesome. So I pretty much rank up first if you type in. And yes, I know. Go ahead. My wife is way better looking than me. Thank you. You'll see that over there too. So, yeah.
Tim, thank you. We can't thank you enough.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Goalie, any final thoughts for?
No, I mean it's going through all the stories Dan and I were talking about before when you came on. I mean, he goes, it's just amazing how we talked about the 120th center, how you don't realize where that's going to go or how far it's going to go, and so you guys sitting here talking about it's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's been fun, Tim. Thank you very much. Dan's on site. Find us on Facebook. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff, YouTube, Dan's on site. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us. Find us on Facebook, at YouTube, Dan's On Site. All your favorite podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. We would love it if you hit the subscribe button and also leave us a review. Reach us at dansonsite.com.